The Golden Knights travel to Winnipeg tonight to face the Jets, a team that they eliminated in 5 games in the playoffs last spring. Can the VGK stay undefeated? We talk about tonight's game when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. Also, please check out our YouTube channel. That is Locked On Golden Knights, and subscribe there. We are brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. Chris, before we talk about hockey, congratulations to the two-time WNBA champions, our Las Vegas Aces. Now, where the hell's the stinking parade going to happen?
Titletown, Vegas. What's going on here? This is awesome. And I'm not going to lie. That's one of the first things I did think about. Like, I don't know. I mean, you got Mark Davis, you got Allegiant. Can they do something like on the south end of the strip down there and then just throw a big bash inside Allegiance? I mean, that'd be kind of cool, right? I don't know.
That'd be nice. Yeah, they need to do something really cool, and they need to keep it away from the middle part of the strip. So last night,
Fremont Streets?
2:15 a.m. last night, Uber driver from Excess to the Cosmopolitan had friends in town. I said, hey, how's the traffic right now? Oh, it's been okay. It took us about 45 minutes to get from the Wynn over to the Cosmopolitan just because of the traffic, down to one lane and in parts down to like a half a lane.
You were up at 2:15 in the morning last night?
I was, yeah.
Were you at U2 last night?
I went to U2 last night.
Wow, we got. Maybe we'll talk about that in segment 2. We gotta get to hockey at some point, but I want to hear about all that.
Okay, we got a lot going on. A lot of my music friends are in town, so it's just been really a lot of fun, but it's really crazy. The last time VGK and Winnipeg met, the Golden Knights advanced to the second round. They were the first team, right, to advance to the second round after they disposed of the Winnipeg Jets, and they eliminated the Jets in 5 games. The Jets were the second wild card, if you recall. It seems like a long time ago, but it's not. Can the Winnipeg whiteout pretty much help to knock off the VGK tonight? A blow for the Jets yesterday. Recently acquired Gabe Vilardi, out 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained MCL. Oh, wait a second. They actually told us what the injury was. What's going on here? In Canada, things hit a little different, I guess, right? So he's out with the sprained MCL. He was a part of that big deal. It was Vilardi, Iafolo, Alex Iafolo, Rasmus Kapari, in exchange for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And then the other big news is tonight, didn't he just confirmed it himself, right? Laurent Brossoit will be in net for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. You're a backup.
There's so much happening. I mean, if Logan Thompson plays tonight, we officially have backup versus backup, right? I think
they could still chant, you're a backup for LT.
I can't wait to see when the Jets do come to Vegas, and if Brossoit does get the start when that happens, and how the crowd will give him all the support in the world. But it would be funny if they said like a chant, thank you, backup or something. I don't know. But so many things to look at here. I think the first thing I'm going to ask is, right after the trade happened, PLD, Pierre-Luc Dubois, gets an 8.5 AAV deal for 8 years. Looking at his stats, his best season is Ivan Barbashev level. And that's not a knock on Barbashev by any means. Barbashev is a a 60-point player. That's been his ceiling. Does a lot of other things for the team, but Barbashev is very comfortably making $5 million per season. And I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois has had more 60-point seasons than Barbashev, but I don't know. I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois, again, one of these players, midst of his prime, right? Third team, 4 years. I mean, I don't know. A lot of times when you're talking about a trade, you always want to be on the side of the deal that comes away with the best player. But this is a trade that tested that theory, right? You had 3 pretty good players in Velarde, Iafallo, and Campari, plus a second-round pick. So that certainly thins things out, thins the herd a little bit for the forwards, for the Kings, for what they sent away in that deal, or all the way around. Sorry. Yeah, for what the Kings sent away. So good job, Jets, on the trade is what I'm trying to say. I think this helps them long term. You said the whiteout up in Winnipeg, but I feel like something just came out on Twitter. They only had like 60 or 65% of their barn full the other night, like 11,000 fans. Whoa. They played a place that only holds like 15,000 to begin with. So I'm not sure what's happening in Winnipeg as far as why people aren't showing up right now. It's an amazing environment. I think as far as a playoff environment goes, that's probably the most exciting to watch, even a little better than Vegas. Yes, I said that. Just with the whiteouts and everything that happens there. So it should be a fun game, but Winnipeg didn't have a good showing against the Kings the other day. Brossoit is going to go, and so he's going to have a little bit of extra motivation to get the W, and it's going to be it'll be an interesting test. It's not going to be the same test as the Golden Knights faced against the Stars, but it'll be a good test.
We had the signings recently, right? Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck each signed 7-year, close to $60 million contracts with the Jets, and it comes out to an AAV of $8.5 million.
They were identical contracts.
Boy, Hellebuck was not good in the playoffs. He was not good against VGK. We expected more out of him.
Hellebuck has to carry the mail, and he's had to do that for that team for the better part of, a half decade or something like that right now, maybe even longer at this point. Very good goalie, but he's, in that world of like an Andre Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, these goalies that play 60, 65, Thatcher Demko, 60, 65, 70 games, even in some situations. I don't know about they get to 70, but in the mid 60s. And that's a lot of games for a goalie nowadays. You need that goalie nice and healthy once those playoffs start, which, I mean, that was somewhat advantage Golden Knights because they were able to mix and match goalies throughout the season. And Aiden Hill's injury situation actually might have benefited things a little bit because he was able to go on a nice playoff run. He got spotted the first series and a half, so to speak, I guess. And then the backup, Laurent Brossoit, goes down, and the other backup, Aiden Hill, came in.
Yeah, very funny. And tonight we're going to see perhaps the return. He's supposed to be on the trip of Alec Martinez. He's the next man up, you think?
Alex Martinez, he had the next man up. That's kind of funny, but yeah, that's what Cassidy alluded to. He'll be on the trip, and hopefully he'll get out there. If he's making the trip, I got to think there's a very reasonable chance Alec Martinez goes tonight. If Alec Martinez goes, Martinez lines up with Pietrangelo, who's not in either right now. So curious to see who's going to come out of lineup basically between. Well, would it be Hutton because you got lefty and lefty there, and you keep Korczak and Pahalin, or do you ham and egg the lines and mix them up a little bit more? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
So Korczak will perhaps go again tonight, regardless, or
I don't know. I mean, it's a hard one to guess. I mean, you could make a case where Hutton is the one that sits, but he's the one who has the most experience of those two. So I don't think it's going to be Hutton, and Korczak probably would stay in. Maybe Pahal would come out. I don't know.
So is Michael Amadio in the doghouse a la Aiden Hill a year ago?
I think it's Ivan Barbashev. I mean, where'd he go? That's a spot where myself and the media, we all swung and missed in the post-game presser. We wanted to get all the sound bites about the fights and the comeback and everything. And I think every one of us missed the boat on asking about Barbashev that night, unfortunately. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't look at it, and we're going to talk more about Cassidy in the second segment. A positive side of things. I just don't see Cassidy as a type to bench someone for missing a shot like that. I mean, I don't. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. I don't know. But hopefully Audio's not in the doghouse. I thought he's had a really good start to the season.
Coming up next, we'll talk about Bruce Cassidy. He's one of the top coaches in the National Hockey League. Chris wants to talk about some notable moments for Bruce Cassidy, South Beach Bruce. We'll get to that when we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better place and time to get into the action than now. The app is so easy to use, a wide range of sports betting options. They have point spreads, player props, totals, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel.com/LockedOn. FanDuel, the official partner of the National Football League. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you making us your first listen. Today, of course, on Twitter, we are going to start the chain for WTF What the Friday, and we appreciate all of your comments every week. There are some comments that are absolutely off the charts. They are so much fun. So you wanted to talk a little bit about U2. Sensational. The Sphere, unbelievable, next level. Cardasco would not be sitting in a $500 seat if he had to pay for a ticket. That's all.
Yeah, I know. Whereas Golick would love to be in that same spot too. That would have been kind of fun. It's funny because when I was working last night, I actually put up on YouTube just a fan camera from one of the first shows, just a complete unedited shot, of U2, and it's just a lot of fun. And yeah, I gotta get there. I might actually be willing to pay like $30 to go to that place one of these days.
I'll tell you, just a little tip here. The best place to sit would be, we sat in the 200 level right on the rail, and those were the best seats to me in the entire house because you could get that full 360 effect, and you don't have the people below us. So if you're in the 100s, you have the overhang and you can't see everything above you. And so those seats are not very good. So that's my little tip for today. 200 level and above. It was unbelievable just to see the band, to see the experience. The sound was great. The video images were next level. And it's
what was it like? I think it's the second song of the set where it's all the letters and it's like coming down from the ceiling. Did you happen to look up and see that as it was happening?
Yes, it's just incredible. It was like pretty much overload, for everything and everyone.
It's almost a distraction trying to pay attention to the music and like watch everything happening. It's just, I gotta get there.
So you see all these images and everything going on, and then you go, oh my goodness, that's U2 there on the stage. So it's like
U2 is like secondary.
It was secondary. Secondary. Yeah. They did, in the second part of the show, they did use fewer like graphics and stuff. But there's one part of that show, and I'm not going to give away too much, where you literally feel like you are outside and in the desert. It's just beyond belief. So check that out. Awesome. So Bruce Cassidy, we talked about him on the show a couple days ago. He has this swagger this season. He's not rocking back and forth. He's just the swagger guy where he just believes in this team, and he believes that each and every night, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when VGK goes out there to play, they're the better team. I mean, so far through the 4 games, he's just like, yeah, that's a team we were supposed to beat, and we beat them, right? I mean, do you get that impression from him?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Cassidy, he knows the game, right? And before he was in Vegas, he did pretty well in Boston. He got within, 1 goal of winning a Stanley Cup, I believe. Unfortunately, he lost to the Blues, which might have helped pave the way for, obviously, the Golden Knights to acquire him a couple years later. And whatever he learned in losing a cup, obviously, helped the Golden Knights to win the cup. And, you look at, like, things that he says and how he handles himself, starting with accountability. How many times in post-game pressers, he doesn't call people out directly. That's something that he fixed from Boston to Vegas. But like, I still go back. It was actually against the Jets early in last season, probably a year ago to the day, pretty much now, where or no, was it the Jets? It wasn't the Jets because they beat the Jets. But either way, point being is it was against the Sabres. Marchessault, he's playing defense as there's a rush coming in, and a puck is able to get across the middle. I think it was Tuck that actually passed it to Skinner, now that I think about it. And Marchessault, for whatever reason, has his stick facing the blue line, like stopping a pass to the point instead of trying to disrupt a pass coming across the slots. So Cassidy in the post-game presser says, listen, we got sticks in the wrong places on the first goal, instead of saying, oh, Marchessault, what the heck are you doing out there? So that's just one growing thing right there. He's not afraid to use the media to get a message across without just openly blasting off on someone and, giving someone like me a soundbite to say, oh, Cassidy blast Marchessault. That's not the case at all, which is certainly a good thing. Something else I go back to, this is even before Cassidy was the coach of the Golden Knights. Brad Marchand, right? Brad Marchand. Everyone knows what that clown is up to. And I think it was right near the playoffs when Cassidy was coaching him. Brad Marchand licked a dude in the game. And like you heard me say that, folks, he licked somebody. I don't know what this guy is thinking, but he's done all sorts of stupid things like that in his career, from injuring people to just trying to get under their skin and whatever it is. So there's a story that came out over the summer. It was on one of the podcasts where Cassidy actually, right after that happened, had Marchand and his family over. Like I think it was a day after or something like that. And, everyone's having their pleasantries, right? And then the family and the kids kind of go off and do their own thing. So that's when Cassidy gets his moment with Marchand. And he asked Brad, he's like, what do you want your legacy to be? Do you want to be known as someone who's going around doing all these things? Or at the time, Marchand was already a Stanley Cup champion. So coach asked him, or do you want to be known as a Stanley Cup champion, an all-star, and all these accolades? I got to think Marchand is a first ballot Hall of Famer as well, but all these other things are overshadowing him. So Cassidy, was able to control the moment. And I mean, I don't know how much of an effect it actually had, but Brad Marchand is now the captain of the Boston Bruins. And then looking ahead to the situation with Jack Eichel, when the Golden Knights signed Eichel, Cassidy basically has a meeting with them not long after Cassidy gets hired. I think it was on Cape Cod or something like that. And basically says to Eichel, hey, you and I are kind of attached, right? Our success and failures are kind of tied together. We're both kind of coming into this at the same time. This is going to be Eichel's first season. Obviously, Cassidy's first full season for Eichel. He got a taste of the previous season because of his injury and everything. And so just little things like that, getting the players on your side while still finding ways to be their coach and be their leader. And I mean, he's the right guy for the job. You compare to what we saw in Pete, DeBoering, I'll say it. DeBoer was a great veterans coach, but not necessarily the best person to unlock a player's potential. So that's my run on for Cassidy and all the positive he brings to the Golden Knights right now.
He's really invested in Jack Eichel. Cassidy has made it clear, as you mentioned, starting with coffee on the Cape. I wonder if the neighbors like Bobby Orr showed up and all those guys for some coffee in the morning. But the thing about Cassidy, too, with Eichel, he saw the potential, right, in Jack Eichel. And he took him on as a project. And he told him, you know what, we're going to make you a better defensive player. And they went out and they did that. They accomplished the goal together. And Jack's dad is like all about Cassidy. Like he couldn't thank him enough, during the cup visits and the celebrations and everything else. And then, for Jackie Aces now, he asked him to shoot more, to be more selfish, which, all of us thought he should have been, because he passed up a ton of really good quality looks last season because he was unselfish, trying to help out his teammates. Maybe that's affecting Barbashev's game right now, because Eichel is number one in shots on goal, as you mentioned yesterday, 25 shots on goal, leads the National Hockey League. But if he is shooting more, it's going to affect, both Barbashev and Marchessault, and perhaps more so Ivan Barbashev. That's my theory.
You make a really good point, honestly. And you have to think there's going to be more loose change to clean up and stuff like that. Because Eichel, I mean, yeah, there's going to be some shots that you watch like, okay, that wasn't necessarily the best shot, but you never know what kind of rebound's going to get left. Goalie could be having an off night as well. It could sneak in, but you do make a good point where it could slow down the scoring of Marchessault and Barbashev. I don't know how much either of those players are concerned with that. Marchessault maybe a little bit more because obviously Marchessault is in a contract year, and it's going to matter if he puts up another 60-point season, which is what Marchessault seems to do, or if he falls off and has a 42-point season. That will matter in his next contract, whether it's Vegas or elsewhere. So that could wear on Marchessault as the season progresses. And Barbashev, I mean, we only know Barbashev after winning a Stanley Cup and coming in and being the motor that really got Eichel and Marchessault going. Now we get a full season of Barbashev. Now we get to really see his true colors. And I don't mean that in a bad way by any means. I think that can definitely be better, getting to know one of the players and such like that. So you could be onto something, Tony. You could be onto something.
And the other thing about Cassidy now is that currently he's gotten this team to focus on getting back to winning, back to playing quality hockey. He said at the start of the season, I'll never forget that he said, when the puck drops, that's it. The season starts and that's it. Forget about the past. We start to concentrate. I think he's done a terrific job in just keeping this team focused, Chris.
The team has been ready to get over the boards for the first shift of every game too. The Seattle game was a little bit slow for the Golden Knights in the beginning, but fine, so be it. I mean, you expected that banner raising and all the hoopla that happened. The San Jose game, the Golden Knights, they were ready, but there were some pockets where it took them a little bit to maybe get the game to the next level, but they were ready to start the game. Game against the Anaheim Ducks, same thing, right? Anaheim was trying to take the physicality to the Golden Knights, but eventually the Golden Knights pulled away. And then the Dallas Stars game, I mean, that was a really good game too, at the time, nearly evenly matched teams, but, they were nearly evenly matched with the Golden Knights missing White Cloud, Pietrangelo, and Martinez. Like I was thinking about that the other day, and it's like, wow. So we're scraping the surface on how good this team might be in the 23-24 season. And a lot of that really starts with the job that Cassidy has done so far.
Coming up next, we've got our locks of the night and we have our predictions. Stay with us. We'll return with more right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. Mark Stone scores a hat trick. VGK wins the Stanley Cup. And if you want to win 100 times your money, play daily fantasy hockey on the Sleeper app. That's right, the Sleeper app. These are all possible scenarios for this season that started already. But to have a chance at winning big, you need to play daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper. As the official daily fantasy app of Locked On and the Locked On NHL Network, Sleeper is our top choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey. With Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. What player would you take this week to win 100 times the money? Well, for the VGK, obviously it is Jackie Aces. And entries can be made in under 1 minute. With studs like, we've got Eichel, we have McDavid. I was going to say Ovechkin's name again, but he hasn't taken a shot on goal in the last 2 games. First time in his career, I believe. You've got Crosby, McCarr, and all you need to do is pick more or less on stats for all of these stars. Choose stats like goals, assists, saves, plus minus is also a category, which is pretty cool. You heard us, VGK fans, 100 times payouts on Sleeper. So start paying attention, get your picks in right, and you can win big up to 100 times, as we mentioned. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get up to $100 match on your very first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Welcome back. Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, very sleepy-eyed. And Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for making us your first listen. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's that time again. Oh, my goodness. And speaking of leading the NHL and Locked On Vegas Golden Knights, there's Allie there.
Say hi, Allie.
Allie, you good?
Allie, you good?
Yes.
Yes.
Who's less awake, Allie or me? I think
I don't
probably
know.
me.
Allie's in zombie mode right now.
Yep, same here.
Are you a zombie?
So she's undefeated. And so here's my prediction. I'm going to go with a 3-2 final, and I am going to be selecting today the Vegas Golden Knights. And I hear the applause from here. I'm going to jinx the Vegas Golden Knights is what's going to happen. VGK 4-0 this season, but they're also 0-4 on the totals. So take the under, folks. Can't score goals. And I'm going to go, VGK, I'm going to go Stone and Howden. Is Stone, is he about to go, like, take a little time off here or something? He's just got 3 assists in the 4 games. He had that one game where he missed a couple of quality shots in close, but he's bound to break out and get a couple or maybe 3 tonight. So I'm going to go Stone and Howden at 3-2 final in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay, so Tony took Stone and Howden and the Golden Knights to win 3-2. Guys, I'm going to take Barbashev and Marchessault, the other guys on that top line, Tony, because of our conversation we just had. So give me the other guys on the top line. And I think VGK rolls. I'm going to go 5-1 VGK tonight.
Over Larry Brossoit. Wow.
Over Larry Brossoit, but the game still pushes the over-under because it's probably 6. All right, Chris, go ahead. Get close to my shoulder when you do it.
I think it's going to be 3-1 Knights. Stone and Barbashev are going to do good.
Stone Barbashev, 3-1 Knights. Allie, perfect. Excuse me, hold on. Get close so they can see you. Perfect, Allie. 4-0 so far. Perfect.
She's got a huge fan base too.
Yes, you got a huge fan base, Allie. You're huge. All right, Allie. So give me 2 players.
March, Stone.
March and Stone. Okay. All right. So she agrees with all of us, I think, because I think we all got Stone. 3 of us do. Allie, what's the score going to be?
4-3 Knights.
4-3 Knights. That's probably the best pick, actually, of all of them.
She mic drops too on the way out. That's super.
She might. Yeah, they leave. They're done. I'm forgotten about already. So it's a story of life right there.
What time do they have to get out of the house by?
What's a good school?
Yeah.
We leave if they're riding or walking or scootering about 8:35. If we're driving, about 8:30.
That's kind of late. That's good.
Yeah, no, the school starts at I think 9:00 is the bell or something like that, and the school's right down the street too, so it's nice.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah, I'd be sleeping until 8:45 if I were them. But yeah, it should be.
They're early risers. They could have stayed up like you until 2 a.m. apparently, and they'd still wake up at 7. They'd still wake up at 6:30.
I think it was till 4 a.m. I think I got
partying. We getting our Green Day tickets for it tonight too.
I was raging. Who knows? All the music guys, like, I don't know where I'm going to wind up today. I've got all sorts of stuff going on, but yeah, it's great to have a lot of friends in town that I haven't seen for a minute, and they're all in the music biz, so they want to go hang out. And on your night off, you want to go watch more music, which is great. So it's great for me. So really cool.
I mean, if I was on the road traveling and there was a hockey game, I'd go.
Yeah, they look for different things to do. Yeah, they don't really know much about hockey, but they can tell you every member of every band. That's pretty good.
That's
fantasy band members. Maybe they should play.
Fantasy band members.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. Don't forget tomorrow's WTF. It's What's the Friday. And, of course, our everydayers. We appreciate all of you out there. Thank you so much. Please leave comments on Twitter, and that is at LockedOnVGK. He is at TD Chris G, a great follow, by the way, and he has all the insider information. Some of these people call themselves insiders. They're not Chris Golick. And I am at Tony Dasco. And I am going to get out of here because I think I need a nap. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.